Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us,
Smoke it if you've got it.
And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And happy spooky month, everybody. We are a little bit late to the party, but it's still October, so we're going to go ahead and try to push out as much spooky content as we can, and of course our Halloween special on Halloween. But we are starting the spooky month off with one of two horror games that just released last month that I was particularly excited for. And today we are talking about Cronos: The New Dawn.
Absolutely. And I have to say, it's good to see a new IP coming out from Bloober team that actually has some real quality to it. I mean,
yeah.
I've gotten like 6 hours into this, and so far, I mean, I won't lie, it kind of started off a little slow and everything, but that slow burn eventually, as I got more and more lore and everything, it's like, yeah, this is an interesting story so far.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it at first. It's very, very vague. That doesn't change. But as you piece together more and more of the story, you kind of get into like the time travel plot and stuff. It does really get interesting. And I actually think to its benefit that we don't get all of the answers. And actually, I haven't finished the game, but I'm assuming that I can already tell
Same
games
here.
like this, there's a lot of stuff that's just left up in the air that they never explain. So I'm 100% prepared for that. But I was excited for this because I was really impressed with Bloober team's work on Silent Hill 2. I was also excited for Silent Hill F. That's the other game that just came out that we're covering for Spooky Month. But the big question on everyone's mind is Bloober team, with their track record, is this the paradigm shift, having just knocked Silent Hill 2 Remake out of the park? Is this the time where they make, like you mentioned, Bo, an original IP that's a good game? Now, I haven't played any of Bloober Team's previous games, but I've heard that they have their fans, but I've heard that they're less than the quality that you might come to expect from some games of the genre.
Yeah, I haven't really checked out those early Bloober games, but that's what I've heard, is that they were mostly just kind of walking sims with a bunch of jump scares attached to them kind of initially.
That seems to be the general consensus.
Yeah. Cronos: The New Dawn, though, it kind of picks up from where their work on Silent Hill 2 left off a little bit, but
yes,
adding a good little dose of really, really esoteric sci-fi to the mix.
No kidding. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and come out the gate and say it. Cronos: The New Dawn is a good game. How good? We'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, Silent Hill 2 Remake was really the surprise, so we knew that the studio was capable, and they were really pushing the technology to its limit. I mean, we had industry-leading technology involved in the making of that game. So it's like, can they combine that with a good story and good gameplay? And I'm happy to say that I think Cronos: The New Dawn delivers on both fronts. Now, to me, I can definitely see where this is the same team that worked on the Silent Hill 2 remake. But I also get a lot of Dead Space and even some Resident Evil with this.
A lot of Dead Space. I mean, this, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much just Silent Hill mixed with the Dead Space and maybe a good little dose of some other sci-fi rigmarole. But
yeah,
I mean, I really like the setting here. It's a version of Earth where this disease pretty much wipes out humanity in the 80s.
In the 80s,
and it's focused in Poland, in socialist Poland, which is another interesting angle to the story and everything, because I mean, they want to build perfect socialism and everything there, but I mean, kind of difficult when something that's actually pretty prescient to our time,
Yes.
Like an epidemic, an outbreak. And, it's kind of interesting reading on how they actually address that. And, and also the conflict between, the workers and the government. It's like that's kind of a little bit of a backdrop to this story.
Yes, very much so. And a lot of this is told through lore that you find in the world. Because the primary setting is set in the future after this cataclysmic event called the Change, which wiped out all of humanity, transformed them into orphans, which are like zombies. I mean, they're basically like the same kind of shit you see in Dead Space or Resident Evil. So yeah, you get a lot of the lore through, journal entries and recordings and things that found throughout the world, but you also have the opportunity to jump into the past to extract key individuals from the timeline where humanity is doomed in an effort to either change it or learn from it. The exact motives and much of information about this organization, the collective that the protagonist belongs to, is left in the dark. But we know that essentially they're trying to figure out what happened and how to prevent it. So we're jumping into the past to extract these individuals, and those time jump segments are really fun because they give you a chance to jump out of the post-apocalyptic world and see shit as it's happening.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's also kind of interesting what you do with those souls that you collect. I mean, you can actually interface with them as well, and that kind of helps push the story as well, and it helps you kind of get a better understanding of each character's motivations during this cataclysmic event.
Yeah, there are multiple different systems at play here, and suffice to say, collecting the essences of people is one additional system at work here that provides some passive effects, and there are some consequences for having to manage the storage. We're going to try to keep this mostly spoiler-free, but yeah, suffice to say, I mean, you can only hold so many of these people's souls, and what happens to the rest? It's kind of an interesting system.
Yeah, certain things kind of leak through a little bit, and you kind of start to get bits and pieces of these people's like lives, leading up to this event, and you get a feel for their relationships and everything.
And that's kind of where that psychological horror from Silent Hill comes in. I think the atmosphere also is very Silent Hill. A lot of the way that the UI works and whatnot. The resource management reminded me a little bit more of Resident Evil, as well as Dead Space, of course. I mean, a lot of the mechanics here are very Dead Space. I mean, even down to the fucking stomping mechanic.
Yeah, very much so. And also the upgrade mechanic, of course. And, you have the dispensers where you can use credits to buy and sell certain items and whatnot, so that you can actually craft new items and also upgrade new weapons and everything. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty standard progression system, kind of, in many ways, but I mean, it is robust.
Yeah, I found it to be a very polished and balanced inventory and resource management system. I really, really fucked with it. I felt like the scarcity of resources was just perfect too. I don't even think there are any difficulty settings on this game.
Not really, no.
But yeah, I found that it was actually just perfect. Because some survival horror games I play, I feel like the scarcity of resources are too plentiful. I mean, I remember feeling that way with the original Resident Evil 2. Like, man, you're giving me too much ammo and shit. This game, I feel like, kind of hits it perfect because you're going to have those moments where it's tight and you're down to 2 bullets, or you're completely out of ammo and you're having to fist fight your way through. But you'll always get resources right when you need them, and just enough to get you through the rest of the game. It's a very tense balance, and I feel like it's managed very effectively. Also, the inventory, only being able to keep so many items in your inventory at any given time, and I felt like the number of times that I had to run back to my safe room and stuff, I felt like that it was well done. It was balanced. It felt earned.
And something else that I noticed that was very interesting regarding the weapon is that it's not especially with the handgun. I think they call it the sword. It it actually doesn't have a very high capacity. There's like, what, 3 or 4 rounds tops, but they're very, I mean, those are charge-up rounds that you can actually use to deal heavier damage to the orphans and whatnot. So,
yeah.
I mean, in a way, that kind of helps with inventory and resource management a little bit, because at the end of the day, you don't need a whole lot of ammo to take these to take the orphans and all the other creatures down. You
For
know?
most
you
of them, no, you don't need a lot, but
Yeah.
you miss fire, you miss a shot, it can be the difference between life and death. You have
Absolutely.
to,
You need to be on point with your aiming and everything. You know, I mean, especially when you charge the shot and all that.
yeah, it's all about precision. And there's some weapons that have charge shots, some weapons that are automatic fire, and so you can change those. And what's really cool is that when you upgrade a weapon, you can reset it and apply those points to another weapon. So you know, if you decide that you want to switch something out of your inventory, and every weapon takes up an inventory slot, so you'll want to think carefully about what you want to take. You know, you can customize that to your liking for a small cost, which is nice. And the weapons upgrade system is actually kept separate from the suit upgrade system, which is nice. You just spend your currency on weapons to upgrade them, whereas the other stuff like your suit need cores. So for me personally, I spent most of my resources into actually upgrading my inventory and my clip sizes right away, specifically so that I was not running out of inventory space.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like that's a tip that I can give anybody that wants to try out this game is prioritize the inventory space and clip sizes on your weapons.
Yeah. Also, I really like a lot of the upgrades that you can get for your weapons, like especially for your main handgun. Like, I mean, you can get a little device that can actually gauge the health of every enemy that you're shooting at.
Super useful, not only for knowing
Yeah.
how much of their health pool is left, especially with those bosses, but also for determining which enemies are actually going to come up and attack you. You can get a headshot on them preemptively before they do that.
And you can also upgrade to have a more semi-auto capacity to your handgun as well.
Yeah, I think that there's a separate handgun called the dagger.
That's a separate handgun. Yeah,
that's right.
That's the dagger.
When you hold down the button instead of it has a higher rate of fire out of as it is, but when you hold down the button instead of charging, it actually goes full auto, which is nice.
Yeah, and that's a good way to kind of clear off a lot of enemies in a small space and everything. That and the shotgun. I really like the shotgun in this game. It's actually a pretty balanced but pretty powerful at the same time.
Oh, the shotgun is the goat. You're going to want to save those for those tough enemies, but good God, are they good? Or just these crowd clearing? Yeah. The shotgun is, especially that full charge shot, it's so satisfying too. I really feel like the sound design in this game is right on point when it comes to the weapons and to the horror stuff.
Yes, especially the gushiness, you know, walking around all the infected rooms and everything with all the biomass, which very much kind of feels like feels like an SCP monster. Okay, it's like a mix of the Flesh That Hates and When Day Breaks a little bit. You know, Flesh That Hates is like this disease that mutates humans into these monstrosities, and When Day Breaks being basically this massive blob that just assimilates all biomass and whatnot. Pretty much like, you know, the Tang from Evangelion. It's kind of an interesting mix of those two story devices a little bit.
Yeah,
and I can't help but feel like maybe they're a little influenced by SCP here.
I feel like this game proudly wears a lot of influences, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
The biomass is cool too because, yeah, I mean, there's basically just like decomposed people that are all merged together. By the way, the big mechanic with these enemies, the gimmick here is that they can merge with other dead enemies. So you need to, whenever you see an enemy merging, you need to stop it as quickly as possible, prioritize. You can shoot them or you can light them on fire and also dispose of the corpses that way. Torch fuel is a renewable resource, but it's limited. You can only carry so much with you. So you have to decide when it's most effective to use that fire, both to fight enemies and also just to clear corpses. Again, tying it back to Resident Evil, I remember that was a mechanic, at least in our Resident Evil 1 remake.
Yeah, and what's cool about the torch is that you could kind of use it to stagger the enemies a little bit and get some more accurate shots on target as well. You know, you can kind of stop the enemies in track.
Yeah, you also acquire the pyre later, so you can carry that with you, and that's basically like a throwable torch that's motion activated, and that's very useful too in some scenarios. A lot of the boss fights just end up becoming. In fact, I guess that's one criticism I can say is the boss fights are a little repetitive. They just basically end up coming down to burn it and then attack the weak spots, but. Those pyres and torches and even explodable barrels in the environment come in handy, particularly during those boss fights.
Yeah, I will say that, I mean, compared to something like Silent Hill F, the boss fights in that game were a lot more intuitive and a lot more challenging than it was in this game. But I mean, but even so, they're impressive. They're an impressive size and everything. I mean, they're still very intimidating creatures. But yeah, I mean, if the boss mechanic just kind of boils down to something that simple, I can see how that can get repetitive after a while.
It can, but at the same time, this game keeps you on its toes enough. Pretty much with the resource management alone. I mean, it just comes down to how can I effectively use this? Because I ran into scenarios where I'd unloaded all my rounds on a boss and that was it. And there was nothing else to be found. I had scoured the entire arena. And so at that point, it's just popping off those exploding barrels and repairing them with the time rewind ability.
Yeah, the time rewind ability is a cool mechanic as well,
Yes.
because that's used to solve certain types of puzzles involving spatial anomalies and whatnot. So, I mean, yeah, that was actually a really cool way to kind of utilize the environment to help progress through the stages and everything.
They are really interesting puzzles. I like that and the gravity boot mechanics. I wish both maybe were a little bit more fleshed out, or at least the puzzles were deeper, or maybe they even kind of combine the puzzles in different ways. I feel like a lot of the things with this game are, what it comes down to, like the complaints that I can say is that it is very basic. Puzzles are kind of basic. Combat is very basic. Boss battles are very basic.
Honestly, it honestly felt like the puzzles were nearly non-existent, you know. But then I finally realized, the time thing, those are the puzzles here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not any weird symbolic thing like in Silent Hill or any type of, you know, obtuse shit like in the early Resident Evil games. But yeah, I mean, I can see how people would say that it's basic. It is a little bit. I mean, basically to the point where they barely even feel like puzzles.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it's not so much a weakness. It's very standard. You know, we come to expect some things that are a little bit deeper. What this game does offer is very, very solid.
Yes, definitely. I mean, also, what I really liked about this game was the character design. I mean, just the design of the travelers and the warden and whatnot,
Yeah.
and even just the design of the travelers' technology. That was really, really different and really original. Like I mean, these travelers, they don't seem to be necessarily human, but they still react and respond much like humans. Like, you know, they kind of grunt whenever they're hurt. Whenever they go over a ledge or something, they kind of go, you know, then just give it a little umph and whatnot. It's like, so we don't really know what these beings are. You know, we just know that they're sent into this dystopian apocalyptic world, and they just kind of keep getting murked, and then they send another one after them just to kind of pick up where the other one left off.
And only one at a time ever.
Only one at a time. They don't even need like a huge squad of these travelers. It's just one at a time, except for maybe the warden. But I mean, his story is kind of, I haven't gotten deep enough to see his storyline fleshed out, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's compelling and it's interesting. It's like, so I mean, how did this one, you know, get stuck here, and you know, what's his deal?
Yeah.
Because he seems to be like deteriorating in real time.
Yeah, you see that, and again, it comes down to like, or we have to ask ourselves, you know, how much of these travelers are organic versus mechanical? Because I mean, they don't seem to be robots like you mentioned. They act like humans. If I had to guess, I would think that there is some organic component inside the suits, but a lot of it is replaced
some kind
with,
of cyborg.
Yeah, like some kind of cyborg or something. And it was kind of cool seeing the warden's armor broken down, revealing, either those are prosthetics that were replaced or that is what's under the suit. It's not entirely clear. Even the way that the main character, the Traveler, speaks, Indy 3576. I mean, she's just, it's just right in that like valley there between robotic and human. And as the story progresses, we see more emotion and expression from her. But kudos to Bloober for being able to develop a character that's as interesting as she is with as little as they have to work with.
Like, for instance, whenever she interacts with the 10 kitty cats that you could find throughout the
kitty
game
cats
and everything. Yeah, it's like she's just like, hello, kitty.
Yes, you can pet the
like,
cat.
Yeah, you could pet them. They all have names like Merlin and
you collect them basically.
Belina. Yeah, you collect them and they go back to where the terminal is at, and you have a cat room.
And it's like,
man,
where did these cats come
fun.
from? Why did they survive? I think you could even ask the warden about it, and he doesn't really know either.
Yeah, he's just like pretty interesting, huh? I have no idea, but yeah, they survived somehow.
Somehow,
and it's like they're resilient creatures.
Yeah. Cats survived the apocalypse.
Like
Who knew?
Yeah, right. That seems about right, though. I could see cats really thriving in an apocalypse that isn't just a straight nuclear winter.
Yeah.
You know?
But the cats actually are a gameplay mechanic, and they'll lead you to they'll lead you to story objectives at some points or other points of interest. But also you can find them in certain places, and they'll give you items. Some of which are like cores, which are needed to upgrade your suit and other upgrades, or keys that can be used to get extra items. I found that going out of your way, to go off the beaten track and finding these extra story rooms and whatnot is really helpful, especially for resource management. So I didn't find every single thing along the way. I know specifically when I got to the hospital, there was some stuff left undone. There was a keypad that I never entered, and there was a chalice that I never found. But there is a New Game Plus, and I know that progress is cumulative, and so things carry over. So I'm excited to get into it. In fact, from what I've heard, you won't actually get the true ending until New Game Plus. So
sounds about right. I mean, apparently this game has a few endings. I haven't really gone and seen any of them.
Yeah, I haven't completed the
game
yet.
Like I said,
I'm most of the way through. I can't tell you how many hours I spent, and a lot of that's probably been on a pause screen, so it's not reliable. But I am at the. I just finished the hospital section, and then I moved on to opened up the tram to the next area, which I think is the outskirts. That's where I'm at now. So I think I'm getting towards the post game at this point, or towards the end game at this point, because I think after this it's back to the terminal and then my last destination. So I'm actually, I do plan on finishing this because it's a relatively short game. I think the playthrough that you said you saw online, and I'm watching it right now too. I mean, that's like 12 hours.
Yeah, it's at 12 hours. That's just like the full game, like I think 100%.
It's a 100%. So does that go through the game multiple times?
Actually, no, I don't think it does go through the game. I think it might just be playthrough one.
Okay, so it's just playthrough one. It's not getting every ending, but just everything that you can get. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm watching that right now, actually. And again, this is a game that looks really, really good. It easily stands up there with modern games. I'm watching. Let me see. This is. Can't tell.
Yeah, the one I watched was 4K at 60 frames per second. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I played this on the Switch too. I did the experiment. It was, in fact, this is one of the reasons I was excited about this game is not only because it was made by Bloober Team, but it was going to be a game that was available on Switch 2, and I wanted to build up that catalog. Is the Switch 2 version the best playable version of the game? No, but it does display 4K upscaled on TV, 1080p and docked, with a solid 30 frames per second. And a game like this is the kind of game that you can play in 30 and you're okay, especially because the Traveler doesn't have much mobility to begin with. They're very slow and hulking. So
Yeah.
Definitely very playable on 30 frames per second. I know to achieve that performance, they did need to visually downhaul a lot of the stuff, but I got to say this game looked fantastic on both my TV and in handheld mode. So,
Oh yeah, it still looks incredibly crisp. Like I think the version that you and I are watching are probably I think that's the PC version.
yeah, that would
So
make
it's maybe a
sense.
little more robust. Yeah, but yeah, I mean the frame rate doesn't dip anywhere. I mean
It's pretty
there's
solid.
A lot of detail. Yeah, there's a lot of detail in the background. Like I like translating all of the tag that's all over the place.
Yeah.
You're like, don't let them merge and everything. It's like, it's an interesting, it's an interesting world that's built here, and especially when you start getting into all the infected areas and everything and seeing all that biomass. I mean, it's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, no, the areas
like, I mean-
in and of themselves are already really cool. I mean, you've got places like the steelworks and the hospital. You've got apartments. Oh man, this sounds like Silent Hill. But
Right.
those are transformed into these like nests or infestation grounds, and you'll see as you get deeper and deeper the biomass growing along the walls until you enter these areas that are just like full walls and columns made out of biomass, and they're just labyrinths. And there is no in-game map, by the way, just a compass on the HUD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you could probably get lost pretty easily in this game if you don't know what you're doing.
Very easily. So, I mean, thankfully, the compass always guides you where you need to go and even places sub-objectives, but it's rarely so straightforward. A lot of times it'll give you a general direction, but you still need to find the best way to get there. And, if you happen to pass by, let's say, a door with a chain that you need to pull out the bolt cutters from your stash for, you're gonna have to remember where that's at and go trek back there. But it's definitely worth the reward if you do.
Yeah, I mean, I did kind of notice that. I mean, for the most part, there's not too much backtracking here.
There
in
is
this game,
some,
not too much
but
so far.
it's done well.
But not-
Like a lot of times you'll
Yeah.
go through an area and then you'll go back through that area, but there'll be more enemies swarming you and shit.
Yeah, they'll at least try to give you something to do while you're going back. It's not necessarily like old school Resi Evil.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is still a very linear progression. And that does help with the navigation because even with no map, it's pretty straightforward. There's usually one path that's your forward progression path and then a couple side paths. And it's just kind of figuring out based on the compass, which is the side path. So you can do that first. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty linear. You'll have opportunities to go back and do things, but yeah, and then when you get to the areas of the game where you go into the dives and you go back in time, you'll even get to access some areas in the past and see how much they've changed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this game. I mean, the story is just compelling you to find out more because it's a mystery. The gameplay is a lot of fun, if difficult. Like I said, I mean, there are going to be some moments where you're just going to have to really tough it out. But I think part of the experience is dying and figuring out the optimal path through. What traps are going to get you and what enemies are going to come after you and how to effectively manage those enemies.
Yeah, it's good to see a survival horror game that's dynamic like that in this day and age.
Yeah.
That really kind of falls back on stuff like that.
It is very action heavy, and it is a demanding game, and it is going to test your patience.
Very.
But I mean, if you've
Yeah,
played Dead Space,
yeah, and although I will say that I do feel like to some degree, even though this is supposed to be a horror game, I didn't find many of the elements very horrifying. To be honest, it mainly because a lot of it was just really drenched in real like that real esoteric sci-fi stuff. It's like
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of downplayed the horror a little bit. That might be one of the few criticisms I have here so far. Is that I mean I feel like the horror could be amped up a little bit, but then again, maybe we need to get deeper into the game to see that level of horror.
sure, yeah. I mean, there are some areas of the game to me that I felt were pretty scary. Honestly, any hospital setting is going to be
Yeah, it's creepy.
is going to be creepy.
It's creepy. That's definitely.
Yeah, I do.
definitely
I
to
do
be
feel like
said.
maybe it could have been a little bit scarier, but I felt the game was tense enough that it worked for me. It was that because it all comes down to the atmosphere. I mean, the game is very claustrophobic. There's a lot of tight corridors and hallways and enemies ready to swarm you from around the corner. And so that's really where a lot of that comes down to, is just the fear of what can jump out at me at any moment, and maybe I'm just barely holding on and I've only got a little bit of health and I'm on my way back to the safe room and I've got no ammunition.
Yeah. That level of tension. I mean, that's the good old-fashioned survival horror motif, resource management. You don't have a whole lot of ammo and everything. But, I mean, I think in a way that forces you to be even a little more methodical in this game than even you would in Silent Hill 2 or something like that,
Yeah.
Like, you really have to just kind of... I mean, especially in the way that, like you said, the travelers are really big and hulking and everything. It's like, I mean, you really do have to kind of survey where you're at, just listen. And I mean, if you have monsters, you just got to clear that room and everything. But I mean, you really got to, just hunker down and try to, use your resources well. And I mean, if you have to run, but for the most part, I mean, take the enemies down and stop them from merging,
It wasn't us who brought the change to the world of people. They didn't have much time. What happened here?
The orphans grow even stronger as they merge. Efficiency discipline is recommended. Such is our calling.
Follow your purpose. Gather the other essences.
The vocation must go on. I need to do my part. The steelworks. The outbreak. His mission. My awakening. I need to make sense of it all.
And there's no dodge mechanic this time around. So like you said,
that's interesting.
You really
Yeah.
do have to just hunker down and some of the weapons even kind of require you to stand in place and even just to make those precision shots, because you have to think, how am I going to survive this? I can knock this guy out with a couple headshots if you want to do the maximum damage, and that's an effective strategy, or you can go for the legs
Yes.
and then stomp on them.
Yeah. Which in many ways might be the better way to go, since it might save a little bit of ammo, because usually it takes one well-placed shot on the legs is going to take these orphans down, easily.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it takes a little less ammo to do it that way. So, I mean, I would say that that's probably the best strategy to go about it.
Yeah, and then when you start getting into the tougher enemies, especially after they merge and they start getting armor and they get faster and stronger, I mean, it's really paramount to have that precision under control and to know what you're doing. But I mean, every time you
Absolutely,
fail,
yeah.
You learn and you continue on. I remember I was recently getting through a boss fight, and I remember I was just every single time I was getting running through all my ammo, and then I was stuck with the boss and I wasn't getting anywhere, so I was like, you know what? Let me explore a little bit, find a cache of resources. I'd found a key somewhere, and I was like, let me go do that and go come back. And sure enough, I beat it on the first try when I come back. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. And if you don't succeed then don't feel bad about exploring a little bit in order to find, because I mean that's what it's only going to help you to find more resources.
Well, also what helps with the boss battles is using the environment against the bosses. I mean, there are a lot of exploding barrels that you can also, restore with the time reverse mechanic and everything. So, I mean, if you know how to kind of draw the boss into the barrels or into the explosive tanks or whatever and hit them at the right time, I mean, it'll deal a good amount of damage. It'll stagger them, and you can kind of get that precision shot that you need.
Yeah, and that the precision is paramount. Like I said, I mean, find that control style or tweak your settings exactly where you need it. If you can play this game on mouse and keyboard, that's probably ideal. I did try the Switch 2's mouse mode on this game, and I gotta say, with it being 30 frames as opposed to 60, the mouse mode doesn't have as much benefit, and it becomes a little bit harder to make those precision shots with it. And the mouse is really not all that comfortable for extended gaming sessions anyway. And also, they forgot to invert the controls, I think, or maybe they just decided not to. So the button that would normally be the fire button, which in mouse mode, which is the L button, or which would be the R button, or what would be the R1 button or RB, the bumper as opposed to the trigger. That would make more sense in mouse mode because that's like your left clicker, but it's like it's swapped around where it's still on the trigger. So that I ended up giving up on mouse mode and just sticking to my good old-fashioned Pro controller. And honestly, I was better for it.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, a lot of people kind of underestimate how frame rate really helps with that sort of thing in gaming these days.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely. I mean, if you can play this on a PC with a really good graphics card and everything, you can get that 4K 60 frames per second. You're going to be like really good.
Yeah.
When it comes to taking those precision shots, but I can see where the reduced frame rate would kind of make that a little more difficult.
Right. But definitely
on Switch 2 and everything.
Definitely a very impressive game nonetheless on Switch 2. And I think that's about the performance you can expect from playing the game on, for instance, a lower end PC that may not have the highest specs. So this game runs on a lot of machines. I'd probably have had a better experience if I bought this for PS5 or Xbox Series X, or hell, it's available on Mac. And I'm always looking for more games to play on Mac. So at some point, maybe I might go ahead and purchase that and play it on my MacBook Pro. But even so, I mean, I still felt like this was a game that had just an absolutely beautiful atmosphere, and the designs of the locations that you went to. I mean, I'm down with the whole aesthetic, and it looked and it played really well.
Now, one thing that I do want to ask though. Is this a Christmas game? Because there is a lot of Christmas trees in this game.
I noticed that, and it made me wonder,
like
was D-Day on Christmas Day or something? Did I miss that in a lore entry somewhere?
Yeah, and it's also kind of interesting to see how Christmas would be celebrated in a socialist country like that.
True.
You kind of get some little semblance of that there. But yeah, there's multiple areas in the, like especially in like the steelworks and I think in Edward's in Vivian's apartment, that one lady that she had a Christmas tree in her apartment. It's like, you see Christmas trees all over the place here, and it is kind of snowy and everything. So it's like, maybe this is a Christmas game.
That one time jump, the first one that you go to, the dive, I remember that being snowy. So it's definitely possible, but it still is a fun game to play for the spooky season, because I mean it's got just the right amount of atmosphere. Like you said, Bo, maybe it could have been a little bit scarier. I definitely do think that there are some mechanics that could have been deeper, but overall I'm very satisfied with this as a product. It's short and sweet too, so you can finish it pretty quickly and finish it multiple times to try to get every little bit of lore that you can and maybe resolve some mysteries.
Absolutely. Like, I kind of want to get a little deeper into this game and kind of see where the story goes, in the next 6 hours of the game.
Yeah.
Because it's already painted a very compelling picture about what actually happened with the change, what's going on with the Traveler and the collectives, and, like that whole thing they say, such as our calling. Well, it's like, I mean, well, where did that calling come from? Where did they get that calling from? And it's like, yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of see, how everything kind of comes together in the end here.
Yeah, it is a really cool game, and the Traveler is such a cool character. I mean, just fearlessly guns down an entire room of enemies, and then says some collective shit like, such as our calling.
let our work continue.
Let our work
it's
continue.
Like, yeah, it's like, it's kind of cold, but also badass at the same time.
Yeah, even
absolutely.
like the way that like she interacts with people, because you can tell there's some level of empathy there, but it's like she's got to do her job and she prioritizes that above everything else. And so she can be cold, or sometimes you'll have the option to be cold as a response, or to maybe be a little bit nicer, even though you may not necessarily be being honest.
Yeah, there's multiple points where it might actually pay off to be a little more empathetic towards some of these characters, Like for instance, I mean, there's some characters that need help and everything, and you have the option to help them or not.
Yeah. Yeah, there are even a couple decisions in this game that actually have some kind of make some kind of difference in the story too. So that's always cool. Like, I think at one point you actually have a choice between two different extraction targets, the intended one or somebody else instead, and you actually get different effects.
I know which one you're talking about, and the playthrough I got had it chose it chose the other dude, and that wasn't the target. And that led to some interesting results.
I went for the target. I just was like, you know what? I don't really know what else to trust in. I'm just going to trust in the mission right now. It's probably going to turn out to be bullshit, but
more than likely.
This doesn't seem like a variable that should be thrown up into the wind. So, but yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was wanting to say, like, I think what's also really interesting about the Traveler is just how much of a presence she is. Like, you're already this big, hulking, massive figure, but it's just like even the sound design, the way that the Traveler moves about across these environments as her boots squelch across biomass, or as you hear her heaving, hoeing, and it's really, really cool. It actually just really kind of gives you this presence. And combine that, with the kind of bulkier movement, and it's very distinctive. And you kind of feel like a badass sometimes when you're not getting your ass handed to you.
Absolutely. I mean, even just the look of the armor and everything, like we don't have any face here. There's no expressions that this character can make, but we still get a feel for who she is and how she actually approaches her mission and how she approaches the subjects of those missions and everything.
Yeah. I will say, on the topic of faces, there are some human characters in this game that are involved in the plot, and the motion capture technology was not quite as good as Silent Hill 2 Remake, but I think that's to be expected since this runs on a wider variety of devices.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's still very
I
good. The
that.
graphics are really, really good. Like I said, even on the Switch 2, whose hardware is a little bit more limited than its competitors, it's still a very impressive looking game.
Oh yeah, man. The detail in the human characters was really spot on. I mean, they look like they've been through a lot.
Yeah.
They really wear the effects of what's happening around them on their faces and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, you really get a feel of the human cost of the change through these characters.
And I felt the performances were pretty good. I mean, obviously, we don't really have much to work with the Traveler. She's just kind of this very stoic, robotic figure. But as we get a little bit more personality, I feel like that was really effective. But I mean, the performances of the human characters and even the Warden, I thought were good.
Yeah, the Warden is almost weirdly like this Traveler that's kind of become somewhat humanized a little bit, or at least like sympathetic to humans a little more so than his his predecessors and everything. So, I mean, in a way that kind of contributes to the way that he is, and especially when you realize that he's kind of degrading and whatnot, it leads to some interesting insights from him.
That and I feel like we're also seeing the Traveler become somewhat disillusioned with the collective, or at least questioning it. I mean, because we the players are still kind of questioning it and knowing, trying to figure out like who should we even side with here, because it's like, at this point, with the information that I've had, I mean, it seems like the collective's trying to do the right thing. I mean, all these people are going to die anyway. Might as well extract them and utilize their knowledge to your benefit. Not that necessarily means it's a happy ending for them, but I honestly, I'm kind of trying to figure out who we're saving here. Are we rewriting time, or what are the effects of this? What's going to happen? I haven't finished the story, so I'm not quite sure how the time travel logic works in this story, but I'm curious to find out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's interesting about this, is that kind of a little later on, the story just really becomes more about the personal drama of these characters that you're trying to extract,
Yeah.
And in a way, the Traveler is just kind of the outsider looking into these very uniquely human scenarios, but still showing a little bit of empathy even.
Yeah. It's very
just a little bit.
It's very interesting because, I mean, the story is just given to you in small doses. You'll, go through waves of enemies, crawl through these areas, and then you'll get like a cutscene that will give you a little bit more plot. But other than that, you're not spending most of your time getting into that. So it's definitely a slow burn. But if you go out of your way and you read all of the lore entries and stuff, I mean, you're going to find even like a lot of deeply personal stories, and the way that all of these people tried to fight back feudally, or, how they spent their last moments. And I always like stuff like that. It's something I had fun with playing Fallout 4 recently as well.
Yeah, and you also get a feel for how the government of Poland is actually dealing with this crisis initially. There's lots of little remnants of the government's response to the change, which is once again very prescient for our time. I mean, it's a pandemic. They're trying to get people to socially distance, and there's all kinds of upheaval surrounding this, like at the steelworkers. There's like a straight up uprising at the steelworks and everything, a straight uprising. So I mean, there's a lot of parallels with what happened with the pandemic. So in many ways, this may be the first real survival horror game to kind of address the post-pandemic era and everything.
True, yeah. And I think it's really effective at it. And yeah, this was another game that was a surprise for Bloober team. A lot of people, we didn't really know what to expect coming in. I mean, it looks good, but I mean, a lot of their games look good, but how does it play? And yeah, at the end of the day, I can say that this was a really fun game, and I really liked how much time I've spent on it, and I definitely intend on finishing it. I guess this is as good a time as any to get into our final thoughts, unless you had anything else to add.
No, final thoughts are fine, I would say. Yeah, my final thoughts, I mean, I really like the Traveler. I really like the... Don't expect like a really, really terrifying or horrifying story here. I feel like it's more of a sci-fi story than a horror story. I like the actual interpersonal conflicts and everything with the human characters, and also, yeah, lots of kitty cats. That makes this game a lot better, I think. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where the rest of this game goes. I mean, I'm 6 hours into the playthrough, and yeah, it's interesting.
Hell yeah. I mean, as for me, I would say don't expect anything new or innovative, nothing that you haven't seen before, but it's a very solid combination of things that are tried and tested. And even if there are some mechanics like the combat and the puzzles that could have been dug a little bit deeper, what you end up with, again, is a very tight experience, and definitely is going to be worth the time that you invest into it. And yeah, it's quite difficult, and it's a really good, really interesting story. And yeah, this is something that this is a game that I think shouldn't be overlooked. If you're looking for something maybe this holiday season to pick up, this might be a good choice, especially since it might be a holiday game. So that
exactly.
That's always a good idea. Or hey, if you want something to play for what we've got left of the spooky season, then I definitely recommend it.
I don't know. Should we make this a Christmas playthrough, like a Christmas Let's Play?
You
what do you think?
That's not a bad idea. We did Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could kind of fit in that whole bailiwick,
Right.
kind of survival horror, but also kind of based in the Christmas season. It's like, I wouldn't mind playing through at least the first couple of hours of this game on a Let's Play.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah, maybe we might just do that. But as for the remainder of our Spooky Month content, we are going to be releasing Silent Hill F, hopefully by the end of this month, if not the beginning of next month. And we'll.
I have thoughts on that one. Let me tell you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to actually put some time into that game now because I had to get through the Fallout. I was trying to play Hollow Knight, but I think I gave up on it for now. I'll have to come back to it. And this, which I probably would have finished if it wasn't so far behind and trying to juggle other games, but now I can finally put all my time into Silent Hill F, and I do intend on completing that, at least getting one ending before we talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe look up the others if I feel like it, and come back and get them later or something. We'll see. Or maybe I might end up getting all the endings. I know, like, once you play through a Silent Hill game once, it becomes much easier. I mean, I managed to get Silent Hill 2 down in like 4 hours, so.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
It took 4 playthroughs before I got that familiar with the game, but and I had to skip cutscenes and stuff. But it's definitely doable. So if there's anything I've learned about, especially survival horror games, is that the first playthrough you're gonna take your time, but after that you can kind of work your way through. So that'll be exciting, and then we'll definitely have out our Halloween special by Halloween, and that's gonna be on Resident Evil Code Veronica. So mixing up new and retro horror this Halloween season. And then finally, I can spend the month of November on Ghost of Yote, which I've been really excited for. So part 1 will be our spoiler-free review. Part 2 will go full spoilers. I think next month we'll try to have out a bonus round episode on game recommendations. I know Megan was interested in doing that. And we'll be doing a collab special on the Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie. So that'll be coming up on Collateral Cinema. Which I should have let you plug first, but Bo, what's coming up on Collateral Cinema?
Well, we should be releasing our Evil Dead episode coming very soon, so that's going to be the second episode of our spooky season content, and our Halloween episode is going to be Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. And our bonus content with the Halloween edition is going to be the brand new Toxic Avenger movie, which is going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And yes, like you said, coming in November, we will be talking about Lara Croft, the Lara Croft Tomb Raider. It's like that's going to be an interesting collab, and we're also going to be talking about the Amazing Spider-Man.
Hell yeah. And I forgot to mention, we'll have some kind of Halloween or post-Halloween bonus round content as well. So, and we'll have some kind of Halloween Let's Play. By Halloween or soon after. So, stay tuned for all of that. But hell yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to on Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also support us if you'd like. We do have a Patreon where you can get exclusive content. But we also do have a merch store on Dashery and Buy Me a Coffee. Hit us up on social media. And we are on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you want to help us rise up the ranks on Good Pods, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or feedback on your platform of choice. Of course, that's always appreciated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that should just about do it for now, unless you had anything else, Bo.
No, I don't have anything else to add.
I mean, we'll get back to doing Let's Plays here very soon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Collateral Let's Play. We're going to be doing some more Phoenix Wright Wednesday. I think you were going to do some more Shooter Saturday as well.
Yeah, we're gonna do some Shooter Saturday and get that going. I want to do some Boomer shooters first, and then get ready for the release of Black Ops 7, and we'll do some Battlefield 6 as well. I think maybe mix that up a little bit. So I'm ready to relaunch that. I think the big thing is probably going to be getting some Halloween content for Let's Play, but. We'll definitely try to get a Phoenix Wright Wednesday and relaunch Shooter Saturday soon, and I think that is just about it. So, with all that being said, I've been Ashley Chancellor,
And I've been Bo Maddox.
This was Collateral Gaming. We are out.
Such is our calling.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.